So another founder in cars, and today we will discuss coupes that you can still drive when you have a family. So there are some coupes that can come to mind. Of course, most coupes are, especially the smaller ones, are two-seaters, but there are also four-seaters, and we will focus on those in this video. So one coupe that can come to mind is if you have a 911, Porsche 911, and a well-known sports car in the cabrio convertible style. It is a two-seater, but in the other styles it's normally a four-seater. Exception can be the GT models, especially the GT3 RS. Oftentimes does not have the back seat, and also the GT3, the back seat is optional. And why do they remove that back seat? If you're not using those four seating places, you can decrease the weight a little bit more. And also because oftentimes those cars, because they are track focused, get a roll cage, they will remove the back seat to make more place for the roll cage in an optimal fashion. Weight reduction and place for the roll cage are the main reasons. For me, I would never do this because I think you have a big part of functionality that you are sacrificing for a small gain, in this opinion. Of course, if you only drive on a track, it would be completely different, but you have a practical sports car with the 911 and you can add to that a little bit. So enough said. So some coupes that I would recommend that have quite good rear seat space, so are quite practical. I mentioned 911, but the 911, like many coupes, is only suitable for small children up to 1.50 m about, and that will translate that you cannot use them that practical. There are also coupes that are a little bit more roomy. We will focus on those more in this video. Example could be in the top range. You have the Jaguar XK and the Maserati Gran Turismo, which are both coupes and both offer more room than the 911 at the back seat, especially the Maserati Gran Turismo, because it is a shortened quadruporter chassis. So you still have the sleek lines. That's often the reason that people like to drive a coupe, but still retain some of the functionality. Another good example would be a lot cheaper, would be the discontinued Fiat Coupe. Very nice coupe, but still has quite decent back room. Also the Celica has quite decent back room. Still not for very big people, but quite decent. If you want to seat quite big people, there's also the Laguna Coupe, which is a good example of good interior room with still the coupe lines. And there's also the 406, 407 Coupe, and those cars also offer quite good rear seat room. Cars that don't offer not so much rear seat room are the Prelude, especially the earlier generations, when they went to coupe form, and especially CRX first and second generation are very tight fit at the back. Also the Ford Puma Coupe or the Opel Tiga offer very little back seat room. The latest incarnation of the Opel Tiga even did not have a back seat, it was only a cabrio coupe. So there are some examples. Coupes are very lovely. They have a nice silhouette, very sleek, and sometimes also a little bit more stiffer chassis, which also benefits, of course, the driving experience. Also that you're sitting a little bit lower, and oftentimes the coupe can also be a little bit lighter than the sedan version because you lack two doors and you also lack a little bit of roof line, which all can manage itself into a shorter version of the car or a lower version. For example, the Laguna Coupe is also a little bit shorter and lower and wider, all those characteristics can make it a better driver car. Still, Laguna Coupe is quite heavy and bulky, so it's a little bit of contradiction sometimes. And especially if you go for the Cabrio Coupes that appear to be the best of both worlds. Then you could also look at the Volvo C70, a nice car with quite decent backseat room. But all those Cabrio Coupes add additional weight and complexity, and are sitting between both the Cabrio and the Coupe. So it is a very nice compromise. Also, you don't have the mold, etc. in your soft top, but very often those cars are a lot heavier and more complex. So if something goes wrong, you will be stuck with a roof that doesn't work as you want it to be. So I hope this helped. This was when driving a Suzuki Swift Sport, another coupe. It's a 5-door hatchback, and in my opinion I would really love to keep that, because in a coupe you still have to put the front seats towards the front, otherwise you cannot access the rear seats. And with a 5-door you don't have this problem that much, because you have additional doors that can be accessed. So it's a different phase. Also, my children are quite big. I looked into coupes because I think they are very sexy and I like them, but they are not as practical as a hatchback. So therefore I went to the hatchback this time. Found a car, out.